Hi, Jake Smith for the House of Rohl here. In this video, I will show you how to install the rough, flush the valve, and install the cartridge and trim. And as I do this, I will highlight some of the great features and benefits of the 1005N multifunction system. The 1005N is a true thermostatic valve suitable for master baths or installations requiring higher flow. Being a true thermostatic, you must add volume controls to control the flow. In this model, you see the R1040 3/4 inch volume control installed. The 1005N is solid brass and made in Italy. Flow rate is 12 gallons per minute. The inlet connections are 3/4 inch NPT. There is no reverse cartridge if the lines were happen to be installed in reverse. This is not offered with PEX connections. To use PEX connections, please source adapters found at any supply store. We suggest you oversize to 1 inch for complete flow. This is the stud bay. This model is wood, but you may see installations in the field of metal 2x4s. The first feature we're looking at is the plaster guard to protect the valve after installation and during the mounting of the solid surface or tile. A plumber will estimate the finished wall, then move the stringer accordingly to make sure it fits into the installation. The installation depth varies with each collection. The minimum is 2 inches from the back of the valve. Please refer to the collection that you are installing to locate the measurement for the collection on your guard and adjust the depth accordingly. If you need an extension, and since this valve fits across all collections, there are different extension kits for each collection. Refer to the instructions for your collection. The guard has indications that clearly show the minimum and maximum measurements for each collection. If there are questions about the correct depth, please call customer service. The 1005N has 2 outlets. The upper outlet is best for master bath installations. A plug is supplied for the lower function. For California and high efficiency states, use a volume control and a dedicated diverter like this R1062 to meet code requirements. In states that allow shared use, like a hand shower and shower head together, the installer can use separate volume controls for each function. The surface stops are in the open position on removal from the box. To operate the stops, use a standard slotted screwdriver. Screw the slotted screw all the way in until it stops, and that will shut off the water flow. So if you decide you're going to make sweat connections with the 1005N, that's fine. I suggest that you remove the cartridge, and you can see I've already removed the cartridge out of the assembly here. Then you take out the stop itself. I suggest you use a 10mm box end wrench for this. Makes it much simpler to get that. And then as a final precaution here, you're going to remove the actual check valve assembly itself. This is very sensitive. If it heats up and gets distorted, of course the valve's not going to work properly. So remove this, make your sweat connections, and then put the whole thing back together again. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off the stop valves, remove the cartridge, and flush the valve. The shutoffs are located on the inlets at 3 and 9 o'clock. They turn off simply by turning in the screw. With the shutoffs now in the off position, open up a volume control to make sure there's no more pressure in the valve, and then remove the cartridge. This cartridge and this valve is very high flow and can flow at up to 12 gallons per minute. Before we flush the system, we suggest that you always use some kind of rag or some other packing material to protect water from going back inside the decorative wall. With the rag now in place, you open up the hot and cold supplies alternately for about 20 seconds each. We are now prepared to install the cartridge and turn on the water and then prepare ourselves to put on the trim. The cartridge was installed as we saw before when it came out of the box and the stops were open. We've already flushed the cartridge and now we're ready to put on the retaining nut. By the way, if this cartridge were to be installed and then you find out later that the lines have been reversed, there is no reverse cartridge. The trim set itself is all one piece. As you can see, there's only 2 screws that are there that hold it onto the installation. And the last bit that we were talking about, we've installed the adapter and we've also installed the extensions for the screws that go through the plate. The screws that go through the plate are quite short, so you must have the extension there to be able to put the screws through the plate to make it secure. We need to set this to 100 degrees. This is very simple to do. We would turn on a volume control, measure the temperature coming out of the shower head, turn manually this stem so that it would be 100 degrees, shut off the volume control, and then install the trim set with the handle at 6 o'clock. So we're ready to do that now. We are going to place the trim set on. It actually self-centers, and it's very simple then to find the screw extensions that are on the inside of the plate. We don't want these screws to be overly tight. If you over-tighten them, then you can actually distort the plate. For aesthetic purposes, you can have them line up on the horizontal or on the vertical. Today I'm lining up on the horizontal. And then the final piece that we would do here is put a bead of silicone all the way around the plate itself, and then leave open a small opening on the bottom so that if there were any water that collected on the inside of the plate, it would have a chance to weep out. As you see in this model, we have the thermostatic control that's right in the middle. You can't see it from where you're at, but there is a thermostatic hot limit stop that's on the top. It clicks into place. That's set at 100 degrees. This will go up to 120 degrees. And this lever is for the shower head. You can have both of these on at one time. The hand shower and the shower head, there's plenty of power with this 1005N. It's 12 gallons per minute. And as you see this installation, this could probably support up to 3 functions at one time. This valve is not California rated with 2 volume controls. You have to insert a 1062 1N 3-way diverter. And with that diverter, then you may use that here in California.